Happy Arvo. So I was poking around this subreddit, Ask an Australian, and the top question, I guess this is the top question of all time to ask an Australian is, do you think Australia should introduce the same cigarette legislation that New Zealand has? And immediately I'm like, that's the top question? What even is the cigarette legislation that New Zealand has? So I searched it up, and I see this video. I guess last year, New Zealand. I'm just curious. I'm going to start off just by watching this video. Because apparently, New Zealand banned cigarettes. What is going on? Oh, hold on. Hold on. Okay, I got the audio working.
We want to make sure young people never start smoking, so we're legislating for a smoke-free generation by making it an offence to sell or supply tobacco products to those aged 14 when the law comes into effect. As they age, they and future generations will never legally be able to purchase tobacco because the truth is there is no safe age to start smoking.
Damn, wow.
We are also reducing the appeal and addictiveness and availability of smoked tobacco products. New laws will mean only smoked tobacco products containing very low levels of nicotine can be sold, and with a significant reduction in the number of shops that can sell them. I'm thrilled
So does that apply to vaping?
to launch the Smoke-Free Aotearoa 2025 Action Plan. This is an important milestone in the history of tobacco control. It's a bold plan, and I'm very proud to have my name associated with it. Our projections show the New Zealand European population is likely to achieve smoke-free status by 2025. But Māori won't achieve this goal for decades if we don't act now. We must move away from
This is crazy. I mean, I don't know how I feel about this. Because part of me, of course, smoking is horrible for you. But the other part of me is like, at a certain age, you know, I like freedom, you know what I mean? You kind of get to choose to do whatever you want, whether it's bad for you or not. It's more so about like how it hurts other people is typically how I view whether something should be illegal or not, you know? Like if it's not hurting other people, why shouldn't you be able to do it? As long as you're of an age where you can make that decision and you're not a stupid teenager. But at the same time, smoking is like, you know, pretty evil. It's also interesting to think, because I know here in America, there's a big stigma against smoking. In Europe, there's really not. Like a lot of people smoke in France and Britain, I think, the UK. But down in Australia, in New Zealand, I assume Australia too, it must be really taboo if they're enacting this. But notice how it's only for people born after a certain year. They're not going to tell people, oh, you're not allowed to smoke. Which also bothers me a little bit because it's like, whenever the politicians pass something that doesn't affect them, because I guarantee some of these politicians smoke, and they're like, yeah, you young people can't smoke. Me, I get to, I get to keep my cigarettes.
a business as usual approach and try something new. No one single intervention will help us achieve a smoke-free 2025 goal. We need a dramatic shift in the environment to denormalise smoking.
Well, there's always alternatives to smoking as well for people that, you know, can't afford anymore, want to try quit, like vapes, for example. So I think maybe it's a good idea because at the end of the day, smoking is bad for you and it's really hard to quit. Yeah. So being a smoker, you know, and going through all this, I know that. So maybe it's a good thing at the end of the day because forcing people to sort of quit or cut down a little bit. So, yeah. I mean, I have nothing really against that.
I reckon it's a good move, really. Because right now, there's a lot of young kids walking around with smokes in their mouth and public are asking how they're getting these smokes. And it's also good for myself too because it saves, so I can save more money.
It's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's the tricky part about it is that it's so addictive. It does make sense, of course, to start the ban at a certain year because people are addicted to it, and you can't just say don't smoke. That would cause like a riot if you know. You can't just take away cigarettes from all the people who have been smoking for 30 years. So it does make it difficult. Of course, though, if you don't ban cigarettes altogether, then kids are still going to find a way to smoke. Obviously. Just like with alcohol, like they will find a way. It just won't be as prevalent, which is a good thing. That's definitely a good thing. I guess it's just a principles thing. Everybody can agree the less kids and people that are smoking, the better. But it's like a principles of just should you have the freedom to do it or not. So I'm very interested to see, now that I've watched that, I just want to read some of these, what you guys think. Or at least what these people on Ask an Australian think. Go put in your opinion here on some of these, because I'm going to go through a lot of these topics, you know. For context, the New Zealand laws effectively raised the legal age. Yeah, I know. Okay. Don't need to read that. I would argue that vapes are way more harmful than cigarettes. Everything I've read says that's not true. I know people who were smokers and then switched to vaping, and it's made a world of a difference as far as they don't cough, their breath doesn't smell, their teeth don't go yellow, there's no tar, so it's not linked to cancer. There may be some other issues that we don't know about yet, though. Let me see. There's a lot of responses to this. I will preface this with saying that I don't like smoking and I wish nobody did it. However, with that being said, a lot of research says that making substances illegal doesn't actually stop people who want to use them from using them. It does remove their ability to get to what they want safely. That's true. I didn't even think about that. It does, and it also means that the money they spend is pumped back into the black market. Indeed. So, yeah, I mean, you might start a bad black economy like we have here in the United States for marijuana, and like we had during prohibition of alcohol. It never worked. Those two things didn't work. And we still have like the war on drugs, which really is pretty much a disaster. Yeah. But you guys, I mean, it is different being in New Zealand where you're on an island. It's a lot harder to smuggle drugs into a little island. I'm sure it's not impossible, but it's not as easy as just crossing the Mexican border. How does this work for people who were born before 2008? Yeah, it doesn't affect them. I don't have an addictive personality is another thing that kind of sways my opinion on this sort of thing, because I've smoked some cigarettes. You know, I have a couple friends who smoke. If we're out at a bar and he says, "Do you want to smoke?" Maybe I'll be like, "Sure." And I've never become addicted. So, yeah, I don't know how that plays into my opinion, or if it does. I guess it does, because to me, I'm just like, it's not that addictive, but I know it is. It certainly is. I, as an Australian, buy my tobacco illegally. Chop from doggy shops. What is he talking about? Oh, from dodgy shops. Most of the people I know do too, because it's so much cheaper. I know for a fact that they won't care when you were born. There's a black market for tobacco in Australia already? Oh my God, I didn't know that. I hope you're putting a filter on it. Because it's already bad for you. Without a cigarette without a filter, now that, you don't want people smoking that. I think it's probably a good idea, but people have smoked for millennia, and that's probably not going to stop anytime soon. Yeah. What this means is there may be fewer people smoking, but more people smoking illegally. For sure. Absolutely. That is absolutely true. People may also switch to smoking something else, which might not be as bad as cigarettes, but has its own health effects too. Overall, the net benefit probably outweighs the detriment, but I think you need to be careful. You certainly do need to be careful. Wow, very interesting. Wide range of opinions. I had no idea you guys had some kind of black tobacco market. I've never heard of an illegal cigarette here in America. I've never heard of someone selling, you know, a homemade cigarette. As an ex-smoker, definitely. I love smoking. Wish I could still smoke, but it's expensive and terrible for my health, and it stinks a lot. Okay. It's kind of funny. He says we should ban it, and then next thing he says is, I love smoking. Wish I could still smoke. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the crux of it, huh? People like to do it, but it's terrible for their health, and it's very expensive. That's for sure. Interesting. I wonder how it's panned out. I mean, it's been a year. That's not very long. What will be interesting more so is when you have like 50-year-olds who aren't allowed to go buy a pack of cigarettes and 51-year-olds who are. I don't think the 50-year-olds who want to smoke are going to be happy. That their 51-year-old friends are allowed to go. I guess they'll just have to get their friends to buy it for them. No, don't do that. I hope you guys are doing well. That was interesting. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.